Instagram. Alright, so I'm going to continue from my IGTV. I'm only going to talk martial arts. There will be no martial art demonstrations, unfortunately, tonight. My wrist does still hurt. I'm a little tired. It's been a long day. Alright, so as you guys know, I've said this before, I'll say it again, and I'm probably going to piss off a bunch of martial artists. And if you're pissed off, then I'm doing my job. Because here's the thing. I've been doing martial arts like a long time, and before most of you were even fucking born. So if anybody has any insight on martial arts, it's the 47-year-old in the yellow shirt is standing before you. Or in any case, sitting before you. Alright. Like I said, the other day, a guy posted something on TikTok and something about they were doing Shaolin Kung Fu, and somebody commented about making fun of Shaolin, and the guy wasn't doing that. It was just, that's what he's practicing. And it's like, oh, you want to try to live like a Shaolin, and Shaolin are pushovers and shit like that. And that's cool and all, because you're all entitled to your opinion. But let's concentrate on facts. If you haven't taken a martial arts class in your life, sit your ass down and prepare to learn some shit. If you have taken a martial art class in your life and you have your opinion and I have mine, we're not going to fight each other, because that's not going to prove anything other than proving me right. So, here's my thing. I've said this 1,000 times, I'll say it 1,000 more times, and I'm going to piss off everybody who has a black belt, or a martial artist, or a UFC fighter, or whatever. And that's fine, because two things can happen. You can agree with me, or you can disagree with me. You cannot come whoop my ass. If you attempt to do so, I will not be held responsible for what the fuck I'm going to do to you to prove that I'm actually telling you the fucking truth. So, first and foremost, there are no superior martial arts. There are only superior martial artists. That's part number one. Second, 30-70. 70% of what you learn in a dojo only works in the dojo. The 30% that works in the street generally only works in the street. Because in the dojo, you have a few things that you have to understand. It is an establishment. It is a place of business. It is a place that has rules of engagement. When you are aspiring, you are only allowed to go at like maybe 25%. I guess each dojo was different. There are some dojos that let you go full on without the pads. Some let you go full on with the pads. Alright? Now granted, the pads will slow you down by a good 15%. Depends on how heavy those pads are. But since they are adapting with today, I've seen helmets today that are way better than that shit that was back in the 1980s and 90s. Today's shit is a little bit more lightweight, a little bit more maneuverable. And I guess it also depends on who's sponsoring that dojo, or how much money the owner of the dojo makes to get the good inline shit in. You know, the products from like One and UFC and shit like that, versus some side stream motherfucker that is just selling shit to get it out of the fucking place so they can get in the new shit. Now, and then they'll cost you an arm and a leg for you to get the new shit. Now, let me explain this to you. Because there are minor differences in every martial art. There are minor differences. It does not mean that the martial art is better. Now, for certain situations, the martial art might be better equipped to deal with that situation, i.e., 70-30. Because 70% of what you learned in the dojo will only work in that dojo. If you are a dojo fighter, pay attention. Your tournaments have rules. You are not allowed to eye gouge. You are not allowed to shove your toe up somebody's fucking nose when you are in the BJJ hole. You know, you're not allowed to do certain shit. Where in the streets, all the shit that you're not allowed to do in the dojo is going to fucking happen. Somebody's going to fight you with a Gatorade bottle. Somebody's going to fight you with a barbed wire bat. Somebody's going to pretend like they're a wrestler and they're going to fuck your shit up. And why? Because you have not been trained to combat that shit. It's really simple. You have different levels of combat in dojos. I'm sorry, I just pissed off 20 martial artists right now with that. You have different levels in combat, and that belt structure shit is bullshit. I had to take a drink on that because I don't have a black belt. But I've beaten more than one in just a sparring match. But I've never lost a street fight. Like I said, 70% of the shit that you learn works only in the dojo. The other 30% is touch and go, but it mostly works outside the dojo. The dojo does not teach you how to spring off walls and attack somebody. The dojo no longer teaches the pole technique. Half the motherfuckers from the 90s don't even know what the fuck that shit is. I started learning martial arts in the 80s. when I was 7 years old. So it was like 77, 78, somewhere in there. Let's see, 73, 4, 5, 6, 7, 78, 79. So about 79, 80. I was 7. Now I had been street fighting since I was 6 until I was 12. Martial arts gave me the extra oomph to keep winning fights. Now, let me break it down for you in case you don't understand. I did not take Taekwondo to get a belt. Somebody's about to interrupt my shit, and I'm about to kick their ass. Anyway, I took Taekwondo so that when I came across somebody who was a Taekwondo phenomenon, that I would be able to either roll with this motherfucker or whip their ass. Simple as that. Any martial art that I took was not for me to get good at it. It was for me to be able to take that martial art, add it to my arsenal, and use it on any son of a bitch that had that martial art that I could beat their ass. It's really that simple. When you learn different martial arts, you take what you've learned and you make it your own. What doesn't work for your sensei might work for you. And senseis don't like that shit. Mr. Ennis did not like the shit that I was doing because shit fucking worked. You know, and when you're the teacher, you don't want people to teach things that you don't want them to teach. Excuse me. I know y'all heard me say I was recording in this basement. Do not come down them steps unless you want an ass whooping on live TV. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, this is why I have no success in life, because people are constantly trying to screw me out of making a successful video. But I'm not going to stop now. I'm not going to restart. I'm just going to keep going. 70-30. 70% of why my videos generally fail is because the asshole around me are doing everything they can to fuck shit up. Sorry for getting off topic. So now you guys know the struggle that I have to go through just to get one damn video done. Okay, now, depending on who you're fighting and depending on who you're taught, because everybody has their own thing versus pressure points versus not knowledge. Well, let me put it to you this way. Kempo isn't the only martial art that relies on pressure points. If you're doing judo or jiu-jitsu, it also relies on pressure points. Or at least it did in the 80s. That newfangled shit, BJJ, toe holds is kind of a form of pressure points. You know, people don't want to see it that way, but it's kind of a form of pressure point. You do have a pressure point in the ball of your foot. And if someone pushes your toe far enough back that it can break, you're going to fucking tap before that happens. It's just that simple. Not everybody's going to be Forrest Griffin. You break my arm, but just use the other one. Not everybody's built that way. You know, most people are just not going to fucking take that chance. You know, there's no shame in tapping out. There's no shame in that shit. However, it makes you improve yourself when you do have to tap, because then you also learn not to let that hole happen again. Alright? And a loss is learning. It's not a shame to lose. It's just a learning process that you have to learn. When I was doing our Saber Night Light stuff, I lost all the fucking time. I am not a swordsman. I am not a fencer whatsoever. But you give me a goddamn pair of nunchucks and your ass is mine. You give me a bow staff and your ass is mine. But you give me a lightsaber, I can barely keep up. You know, you see me do my dual lightsaber shows and they kind of suck a little bit, and I'm okay with that because I'm not a swordsman. You know your strengths, know your weaknesses. It's more important to know your weaknesses than your strengths. Your strengths will take care of themselves. Your weaknesses are what you need to improve on. Again, 70-30. Because a lot of teachers will sit there and make you do a horse fist and a horse stance for like 6 weeks and never even teach you how to block or kick yet. So, you know, you have to invest in what your teacher's teaching you, and you need to pay attention. In every class that you are in, you need to literally pay attention. Whoever he's correcting, you make sure you look to me, see what they're correcting them on, because you will be the next student that he probably has to correct on the same shit. It does not hurt to be wrong, but it helps to know that you're wrong so that you can get right with your shit. A lot of teachers don't even do that. If they see that one student fucking up and everybody else straighten up, and you're too scared to say, yo, I'm not getting it, you're screwing yourself. Don't be ashamed to say, I'm not getting it. Tell the teacher you don't understand it. Me and Mr. Ennis had a back and forth when I was in the inner stairway because I couldn't do Tosan for Taekwondo to get a yellow belt. I couldn't do Tungu in the Harate to get a yellow belt. And I was like, you know, yellow's my favorite color, but that's the one belt that has truly eluded me outside of all the rest. And then I learned something. A belt don't mean shit when you're on the streets. A belt don't mean shit when you go to the UFC. A belt don't have a damn thing to do with your actual skills in a fucking fight. A belt is just a way to keep track of you in class. Alright? You can have a black belt and get your ass kicked by a novice white belt. Your fighting experience is everything you're ever going to need. And if you've never been in a real fight, but you've been trained in the dojo, you're going to do well in the dojo. It's a high probability that you could get out this dojo and go get your ass kicked because you are taught differently in the dojo. And so how you train in the dojo, when you go home and practice, you need to up your game. Because if you don't up your game, how you train here is how you're going to fight here. And you don't want that shit. Because in the dojo, we're all about sport. We're all about commodity. We're all about the camaraderie. We're all about the brotherhood or the sisterhood of why we're here. We're here to learn how to defend ourselves. Like I say, we're here to learn how to fucking fight. And that's going to be that. But when you're sparring with your partner, you're not there to hurt them. But you also have to realize that, click, when you get outside in that street, they're not your partner. They're out to hurt you. And everything that you learned in the dojo isn't going to work. Only 30% of that shit's going to work. So this is where you live in reality now. Now you have to understand that if someone's coming at you with a glass bottle, this is a dangerous object. Now this is plastic. That doesn't make it any less dangerous. Understand that I just told you. This doesn't make it any less dangerous. This is not an empty bottle. This bottle has friction in it because it has Gatorade. It's half a bottle. Do you think I can do more damage with this bottle half full or all the way empty? The answer is simple. With the bottle that is full, because there's going to be weight behind this shit. And when that weight comes across your cheekbone, I'm fixing to break your goddamn jaw. Where that's a smack. That's not going to hurt as much as when this bitch was full and I come across this bitch. Now that it's empty, I have to hit you twice as hard. Because this here ain't got no impact the way it did when it had that full bottle. Again, 70-30. And the reason why I said that is because when you get into a street fight, you don't know what someone's going to bring to that street fight. Gatorade bottle, you may think it's not a dangerous weapon, but it fits directly in your chin in a perfect position to push your esophagus through the other side. It fits directly into your sternum. It can fit into an elbow. And it can be used on the back side of the elbow. Same with the knees. So if you're not learning anything from me, then you can leave this channel right now. Because I'm teaching you shit that's going to help you versus shit that's going to make you look good in the movies. Now granted, I make movies. They have not really taken off very well, but I make movies. But I've been a martial artist first. I was a street fighter before that. I'm not going to tell you something wrong because I have been in fucking fights. Alright? Oh yeah, I'm not big. I'm not Kimbo. I'm not the guy you see in the UFC running around and beating the fuck out of people. No. That does not make me any less dangerous than any damn body else that you see on the internet. The difference is, I'm going to fucking tell you the truth. If I pop you in the goddamn chest with this bitch enough in the right damn spot, you're going to feel that shit because you're a human being and you feel pain. I have not met a human being that doesn't feel pain. Even I, who know the iron body technique, I have 5 minutes of pain that I can withstand. But I'm not bulletproof. I'm not knife proof. So I know that if you have a knife or a gun, I'm either going to get shot or I'm going to get stabbed. I have to accept that shit. You have to accept a lot of shit in a fight. And getting punched in the face is something you're going to have to accept. Because that's generally the first place somebody tries to punch you. Which is either going to be square in the mouth or one of the cheeks. Or in the nose. If they hit you in the nose, your eyes are going to biologically water up. They're going to slap you in the ear, you might go a little deaf. They're going to hit you in the temple. They're going to hit you somewhere where someone has told them that the shit is going to fuck your shit up. Now, if you're not aware of that, I just made you aware of it. So write that down in your little graphic novel thing because, you know, sometimes shit happens. If I rip the bottom of this bitch off, which I don't humanly have the strength to do, but if I have a cutting tool and I cut this bitch off and I make the edges jagged, it'll be just like a glass bottle and I can stab the shit out of your ass. You'd be surprised at what you could fucking kill a person with. And I learned that before I even took 2 steps into the army. The thing is, how you are taught is going to have to transfer eventually. It's going to have to transfer from here to here. And if it's not taught properly, then these things here aren't going to do any good if you can't use them. Alright? So when I taught you about breaking the elbow, there's more than the 3 ways that I normally show people. I keep the fourth way, even though I showed it in secret in one of my videos that just got put up last night. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to you now. So usually it's here, or you get under them and you pop it up this way, where you put your shoulder, their elbows on your shoulder. You pin down and you pop up at the same time. So you're pulling this down with both your hands and you're pushing your shoulder up through the elbow. So the other way is when you block it and you just punch straight through. So that's like the fourth way. But the arm only goes in the way that the human body is designed to have it. Your job is to give the body a new design. Alright? It's the same thing with, like, people are going to say, James, you're talking too much. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Those are the same people whose teeth can be knocked out their mouth by not listening to somebody who's talking too much. As I told a guy at work earlier today, because somebody was getting smart with him, and I said, first and foremost, never discount someone else's knowledge, because even a know-it-all doesn't know it all. There are some things that you just don't know, and there's two ways to learn it. You can take the advice of the person giving it to you, or you can find out the hard way when you take a swing at somebody and you wind up going to the hospital because you should not have been fucking with them. Because again, 70-30. Now I know you guys want to know why I keep going back to 70-30. If you're here and you have never been in an actual fight, or you have not had martial arts training, 70-30 is for you. Because you're going to get a fuck ton of shit in a dojo. But you're really going to learn when that shit counts on the streets. Now, if you're doing like professional wrestling as a career, you already know the drill. You know how the shit's going to work out by the time you get to the ring. You guys have already worked that out. The referee's giving you the cue. Hopefully I'm not ruining wrestling for anybody, because I am a wrestling fan. My crush is a wrestler. I would love to marry her, but anyway, that's not relevant to this right now. Anyway, the problem is really simple. You know, you're going to learn what works outside of the dojo a lot faster than inside the dojo. So let me show you. You first get the dojo, you get in your gi. Deeper, wider, deeper, wider, deeper, wider. And you sit down, and now you're here. You're here, and you're here. And then you learn those back step blocks. So you get back into your front stance. Boom. Boom. You get into your front stance again. Boom. Boom. You learn your counter. You do that shit. Guarantee you 25% of the time, if you're not in a tournament, that shit is not going to do a damn bit of good for you. So what I tell you, if you get into a fight in the streets, you use regular boxing blocks. If you want to do Wing Chun, that's fine. But you want to do regular box, Wing Chun, or Thai. Because Thai fighting still gives you that, you know, that little shit there. So if you're not being taught how to block properly, you're going to get your shit fucked up. I'm sorry for swearing. I'll have to make sure that this video is not for kids. The thing is that a lot of teachers, before they realize what they've done, they fall into the same habit of not letting you know that 30% that you're going to need. But see, here's the thing on that too. I'm sorry, about to piss off more martial artists now. A lot of teachers have never been in fucking combat, like actual fist fighting combat in the streets. Most of them have had dojo tournaments, they've earned their belts, and they've done all these katas and all this other shit, which is irrelevant when you get out there in the street. You know, a lot of people are laughing at Jackie because he throws cheers and shit. Let me tell you something. If throwing a cheer keeps you from beating my ass, I'm throwing every fucking cheer that's in reach. Alright? The pole technique. I would love to actually be able to take y'all outside at night and show you the pole technique. There's a video of it. I have it on my channel somewhere. You have to go find the damn thing. There's like over 1,000 videos here. But there is a movie that I can refer you to where the pole technique had got its famous, and it's called Gymkata. It is spelled exactly like it sounds, Gymkata. It stars the Olympic great Kurt Thomas and Richard Norton, who's a very good martial artist. I think it's Richard Norton. Somebody damn Norton. He'll be the guy with the Billy Idol mullet type thing, just like Kurt Thomas. Their hairstyle's kind of the same in there. But go watch that movie and you'll see the pole technique or the tree technique. Now, I'm not a gymnast by far, but I'm pretty sure if my life was in danger, I could probably do the same goddamn shit. Not with this hip, though. So some things would have to be adapted. That's another thing that a lot of senseis, sifus, maestres, and whatever other style you go to, whatever the teacher calls himself, does not teach you about adaptation. Alright? You have to learn how to adapt. When you're doing your 70% and they don't teach you how to adapt, it's probably because they weren't taught how to adapt. They were taught some shit that worked for their sensei, it worked for them, and here's where that clusterfuck comes in. Just because it worked for those two motherfuckers doesn't mean it's going to work for you, which is why you need to learn how to adapt. Now, when you're out in the street, that 30%, 29% of that 30% is adapting to your situation. If you don't know where you are, if you don't know how many people you're fighting, if you don't know what they bring to the table, which is the main thing you don't know what their skill set is. You don't know if they can fight. You don't know if they have a weapon. You just know that this fucker across the field is trying to kick your ass. That's all you know when a fight starts. Most fights start verbally and then go physical. No fight unless it's like in a sporting event, there's a bell that rings and everybody just goes for the fucking gusto. In a real fight, in the street, people talk shit and then somebody gets hit in the mouth. If that person gets up, he likes to return a hit back to the other guy's mouth. And then you have fisticuffs. However, 9 times out of 10, if you get hit right and you got a glass jaw, it's GTS time for you. Your ass is going straight to sleep. So it's just a matter of who's teaching you what. So, now that you know that 70% works in the dojo and only 30% works in the street, what do? You adapt. And you adapt some of that 70% into that 30% until you get enough of it to make that 30% as lethal as fuck. Alright? You have to understand that a lot of things, close quarter combat, is not something that you can fuck around with. If you guys are getting close enough that once they get past your arm's distance, you have a problem. Once they get past your fight of striking distance of your foot, you have a problem. If they can get in and fuck up your defenses, you have a problem. 70-30. Because in the dojo, they teach you to block almost every possible kick that's coming at you, from axe kicks, jumping spin kicks, foot sweeps. If they're not teaching you that, it's probably because it's not part of their martial arts skill set. But the best way to avoid a hit is to not get hit at all. You know, if they're coming in with an axe kick and the only block you have is this, then that's what you use. If they're coming in with the axe kick and it's easier for you to sidestep and then ridge hand their shit, that's what you use. You are adapting. If they're coming in with a foot sweep and you have two options, you can lift your leg and let them sweep past, or you can jump over them and deliver a front kick to them. You got to keep that shit simple. Basics win fights in the streets. All that superficial shit that you see on the movies and TV, that shit does not win fights. That shit looks good because it's a movie, but in real life, if you try to tornado kick somebody, you've exposed yourself to an opening that you might not be able to recover from. First, you're in the air. Second, if you're lucky enough to pull that off, who's to say this motherfucker won't hit you in the balls the second you go in the air? You know, there are no rules in a street fight. If I gotta hit you in the nuts to win, or at least to slow you down, then I'm going to fucking do that. If I have to kick you in the nuts and then knee your fucking head in with my knee because it's the only option I have at the time, there's the adapting coming in. If you don't put that block up, or block it and keep blocking it until you find a way to get an opening on my shit, then your ass is going to get kicked. It's just as simple. No one explains that shit to you when you're in the dojo. No one. And if they do, they've probably watched one of my videos, so they've changed their games. Like, yeah, you know what? That motherfucking James is right. We aren't explaining to our students that this is how shit works in a real fight. Because in a real fight, an elbow and a knee can be a critical weapon. It's not just for Thai fighting. Wing Chun has them, or at least my Wing Chun has them. And you know, it just really, you have to understand how fighting really works. Getting hit in the face fucking sucks. Getting kicked in the face fucking sucks. Let's just be honest. Getting hit or kicked at all fucking sucks. If you're not prepared for that, you're probably going to go down. You know, really. Because like I said, in that dojo, this is your fighting power. You know, versus in the street where it's everything goes. And people will not be playing with you when they are in the streets. Because they're scared and you're scared. And neither one of you want to take the L, but one of you will take the L. It's just a matter of who has the better skill, who has the better cardio, who's the fucking toughest, or who's the strongest. For me, I'm a strong believer it's better to be tougher than stronger, and I'm probably pissing you all off, but let me put it to you the honest way, the only way that I can put it. See, you can be stronger than anybody. That does not mean you're going to win. But if you can take an ass whooping as good as you can give one, you have a better chance of actually winning the fight because you can outlast them. If you're fighting somebody who smokes cigarettes and they don't do push-ups and try to balance it out and try to keep in shape while they're smoking cigarettes, you got their ass dead to rights. If you're fighting somebody who has like underlying health issues, like they have asthma or they have something that like really fucks up with their health and they're not in the best of shape, you're probably going to fuck them up. Now, if you're fighting somebody who's super strong and has asthma, they're probably going to try to end that shit as quick as possible because they know that they have asthma. But see, if you don't know that you have a health condition, you're not going to play with your food. But you're not going to be thinking, this little fucker's going to knock me out. You're not going to be thinking that way. And no one thinks they can get knocked out until they fucking get knocked out. That's pretty much how that shit works, you know. Now, I've had some concussions. Not from fighting. From doing really stupid shit. Still got a scar from the first stupid shit I did, was thought I could fly. I had a cousin named Brian. We jumped across a bench. That was me. Brian came right behind me and landed over top of me and had to like do some kind of dive and roll shit before I lost consciousness. And then there was Miss Early. How you doing, brother? We was playing football in the 5th grade and I can't catch. The ball hit my chest and bounced on the ground and everybody hollered dive for it. Mish and I died for it. Mish got up. I didn't. Don't know if they scored the touchdown, but I know when I woke up, I was in the fucking infirmary, and I know I caught my mom all kinds of winches and bitches that night because I thought I was Christopher fucking Columbus because that was the last thing we studied in school before I went out. So, you know, you have to understand, you have to adapt in the fight. You have to be ready for damn near everything. You have to be set because if you're not prepared for shit, you're going to get screwed, man. And a lot of these dojos, I'm not like dojo shaming anybody. I'm not dojoing and none of that shit. I'm just letting you know the fucking truth. A lot of these teachers that do martial arts have not really been in fucking street fights. They are preparing you for shit in the dojo. They're preparing you for tournaments. They may be preparing you to get an action movie role. Doesn't mean their shit's not legit. It just means that there is a thin line in that 30-70 shit that's gonna work and not gonna work. Alright, if you're making a movie and someone does a foot sweep and you do a butterfly kick. 2 different types of foot sweeps, people. You know, I said I wasn't going to do any martial arts in here, but apparently I'm lying to you today. So first foot sweep, if you're going to do a butterfly kick, I'm coming that way. So if you butterfly kick over that shit and the butterfly kick goes over my head versus over my foot, you may land behind me and boom. Now, I'll do the back foot sweep, you know. If you jump over that foot sweep, I'm dead to rights. When I'm right here, the foot's already come through. So all you would have to do is boom. And you're pretty much going to kick me right in here. Even if my guard's up, you're going to ram my arm into me. So you're going to do something. And it's going to pretty much fuck up my day. And if they're not preparing you for that shit, because when you get hit, it is a different ball game than that shit you see in the movies. Sometimes motherfuckers can't recover like that. Most people probably can't. If you hit them right, then most people aren't going to recover from that shit, and they're going to go down. Now, if you're stronger than me and I break my arm when I go down, I got a problem. Fight's not over, unless I pass out. Fight's not over, but I'm fucked up, and I need to end this shit quickly. Which is another reason why I don't recommend foot sweeps. Because foot sweeps opens the door for me to get my ass kicked. Keep that shit where I and you are always looking at each other. Keep that shit basic as fuck. Because I can block and break an arm. I can front kick you and fuck you up. Or I can do something incredibly stupid and get fucked up. You know, I do a jump and spin kick and I miss. All of this shit, I'm done. Because the right guy, boom! You know, I'm a short guy, so I have no business trying to jump, spin, kick anybody. Anybody. Because there's a good chance that I'm going to miss. It's a very good chance I'm going to miss. See, in a fight, it's 50-50. Because you're both coming in jacked and on adrenaline. And 9 times out of 10, if you're not really aware of what the fuck's about to go down, you know, it can be bad for you. And sucker punches hurt too. I've been sucker punched before. Because some asshole stole a van and I was driving it. I've been sucker punched twice. That skipping style is not a fucking joke. Hello, fella. I know you're probably watching. Yeah, the guy who skipped up to me and smacked me in the face twice. And I didn't even steal the goddamn truck. So, you know, shit happens. I don't do good deeds anymore. Just because of that shit. But, you know, the whole thing is, if you are not aware of what's going on, you know, you're gonna get fucked up. And the reason why I said that also is because I couldn't get out the seatbelt. And whenever I did my bound fighting, it was because I was in handcuffs. And I had also been training to fight with my hands tied since I was like 12 years old. And a lot of people have not been trained that way. A lot of people are only trained with what you normally see or what you see in the movies. And 9 times out of 10, what you see in the movie is probably an amalgamation or an exaggeration of how people are trained. Lots of people have not trained with their hands tied because most people think, oh, I'll never be in a situation where my hands can be tied up. Well, here's the thing. People of color don't make good bargaining chips. And there's probably a good possibility that I would be kidnapped and my hands would be tied up and you would probably find me dead with a bullet hole in my head because I didn't think that I would be able to fight with my hands tied. Joke's on these motherfuckers, because if my hands are tied in front of me or behind me, I've made videos about what you're supposed to do. What you're supposed to do. What works best for you. An escape is better than nothing, but you have to be able to figure out how you're going to escape. You have to use simple kicks to escape. And you need to be able to run with your hands tied. Now, that's a tiny bit of a problem for me because I can't run at all. But, you know, I can put you in a position where I don't have to engage you anymore because I can fuck your shit up, you know. But the thing is, if we are not aware of what's going on in the fight, we don't have a dog in the fight and we're going to be dead meat. So I'm going to tell you right now, you need to understand that 70% is still great. There's nothing wrong with the 70-30 philosophy. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is, a lot of your teachers aren't going to come up and say, yeah, you know, I've never been in a fight a day in my life outside of a tournament. Not too many teachers will come right out and say, hey, to be honest, I've taken martial arts all my life. I've never been in a fight a day in my life, but I know karate. Yeah, but that does not mean that you've ever actually used it. Alright? It works different when you're getting taught by someone who's actually fucking used it versus someone who has not. Because there are many of fucking senseis and sifus out here who just look tough and have never been in a fight because they just look tough. And a lot of people, perception is a rule. A lot of people who see big people, like people over 6'2", it's like, yeah, you know, I'm not really going to fuck with this guy. He's a huge motherfucker. And they let that shit lead their ass to, I'm not going to fight this guy because he's so big. Where on the other end of that spectrum, my little short ass is 5'3". I've been bullied all my motherfucking life. And I can tell you this. Most of those motherfuckers that run their mouth, that are bullying me, have never showed up to Forest Hill Park, or Washington Park, or Greenleaf Park, or any other park that I laced the challenge down. And I'd be there for hours by myself waiting for these motherfuckers to show up. And then the same some bitches will come and pick back on me at school again. So yeah. Hey, if you can't fight, keep your mouth shut. If you can't fight, just go see what happens. You're either going to win or you're going to lose. It's not too much more you can do that, especially like if you're children. If your children, no one's going to try to kill you. Or at least not intentionally. But it can happen. You know, don't think that a kid can't kill another kid by accident by using something that they were taught. Which is why I will not teach kids lethal ordnance unless those children are female. I will teach a female child lethal ordnance versus teaching a male child. Unless that male child is my child. Then I know that sounds bigotry as hell. But you have to understand where I'm coming from. I would rather teach my kid how to kill someone than have my kid killed by someone that I taught some shit. You know, because somebody might be like, yeah, your son's bullying me, so I need to do this. But they're not going to tell me directly that it's my son that's bullying them. But if it is my son that was bullying them, if I had a child, oh, you wouldn't have to worry about that. He would never bully you again because I was bullied all my life. I will not raise a bully. I will break my son's legs if he ever tried to bully someone. I'm sorry. That's just going to have to be what happens. Because that way he'll know that martial arts is a gift. It is not a right. The power to hurt someone is not a fucking right. It is a gift. It is not something that I am proud of. But I will tell you this. If I have to hurt someone, then I have to hurt them. I will invite you in there, buddy. I don't have a lot of battery life. I don't know if it's going to work, but you're also going to be voiced on Kung Fu Havoc #2. Obviously, it's not working. Oh, there it is. It might be working.
Hi.
Okay.
Nice to see you again, my friend.
How's it going, man?
And it's true.
I suck with technology. I'm sorry.
True. Everything.
I can't hear you. It's
Talking about everything you've been saying is true.
Yeah, well, most people don't want to teach people that part of the martial arts because it's not so much about money as much as they might just not know. No, they might just not know.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's glitchy. It's glitchy.
Oh,
I hope you can
okay.
still hear me. But yeah, a lot of people.
I can hear you.
They when you're dealing with that element, it's a lot of people that's phony. It's a lot of people that's legit, but it's also that in between people who are legit but just ain't never been in a fight. You know, and that's like that small measure of people because you could be a legit motherfucker and just have never had hit anybody. It happens, but there are some people who are not legit and they have dojos and schools and they're teaching everything, and then yeah, one of your students goes out and gets fucked up. It's like, well, damn, you know, I paid this guy like $200 a fucking month, and I got my ass kicked because teacher never told me, hey, getting hit in the face fucking sucks, and it does. Getting hit in general fucking sucks, you know, and a lot of people, they don't prepare you for that shit. So when you're sitting there, you're learning your blocks, and I'm like, okay, well, this step back block, okay, that works if someone's hammer fisting you, but if they're coming in with a hook, what's gonna happen? And there's a circle thing spinning, so I'm probably losing connection. But the thing is, you know, if they're not teaching you this shit, you need to reevaluate what you're fucking learning. Because a lot of people, they're like, well, I got $70 out of this guy for like the next 6 months. I better teach him some shit that works. And the thing is, 70-20. Because the dojo, everything that works in the dojo, it works in the dojo. 30% of that shit will work out in the street. And if you haven't,
Está bien, ma. Sí, está bien.
if you haven't,
Oh,
been,
sorry, it's because I was just my mom.
I just went through the same shit. No worries, man. If you haven't been in an actual fight, is when your shit is going to play out. Because when you're doing tornado kicks and you're training, it's fine because it's preparing you because it's training. But when you get out in the street and you do a tornado kick, there's a guaranteed shot that someone's going to hit you in the nuts. And if they don't hit you in the nuts, they're just going to get out of the way, and you're already in the air, so it makes it easier for them to body slam your ass on the ground. Where if you kick basic shit, you know, front kick, axe kick, side kick, you got a better chance of keeping that shit right and keeping your ass from getting hurt or beat by adapting to that shit versus, well, I'm going to jump and spin kick this guy. Yeah, I'm 5'3". If I tried to jump and spin kick The Rock, I'm sure he would catch that shit in the shoulder. If that, he'd probably catch me by the legs and just like be flinging me all over the place. I don't have time for that shit, and pain sucks. So, you know, you have to be taught properly. If I had to fight The Rock tonight, this little pole right here would be the difference maker because of the shit that I had learned. If he can't punch through that pole, I'm safe. And they don't teach you these things in dojos now. They teach you, let's do this block, let's do that block. And then if you're not being taught by someone who's proficient, someone who practices on a daily, and they don't encourage you to practice on a daily, and they don't tell you that you need to adapt, you're fucked. And I don't mean to cuss because I don't know where your parent is, but you know, it's a thing, man, and people aren't giving you that, but yet you're shelling out all this damn money. My whole point of making movies,
that's also true.
Yeah, my whole point of making kung fu movies was so that I could get famous and rich and open up a school and teach kung fu for free. Because when I was 7, I was taught martial arts from the age of 7 to 10 for free. And the guy went out of business because he wasn't paying his bills. But, you know, he gave me good stuff, you know. And the thing is, I want to give back eventually. But at 47, my career is like, it's now or never. And I got like 115 followers on YouTube. I got 800 and something on Instagram. And I got like 1,000 or so on Facebook. And none of them have gone to my YouTube channel. And I got like maybe 600 or 700 on TikTok. And the other thing, I don't want to do Patreon, and I don't want to ask people for money. I would prefer to get sponsors. Like, I drink a lot of Gatorade, so, you know, Gatorade, give me a job. But, you know,
that's good. That's really good.
But see, this is the thing. I'm poor, you know, and I had an incident like 2 years ago at a GalaxyCon where there was a famous celebrity, and they wanted me to pay $60 for a selfie or $60 for an autographed picture. And I was like, man, I need to eat. And GalaxyCons are not cheap. Because the tickets is like $80, and that depends on how many days you're going. And then you got to pay for your hotel, which can range anywhere for how many days you're staying in a certain place. And you're not in your own home city, so you're screwed. That's my alarm. So we're going to go a little bit longer, and then I got to end this shit because I like to get in the shower.
No,
but,
no problem.
But yeah,
no problem. I like to listen to you. I mean, it's really cool what you're saying.
I appreciate
it's really good. You have a good speech. It's really awesome.
But you know, the thing is, when you go to these schools, man, and it doesn't matter what school it is, none of them really give you the insight on fucking what comes next. And that's a problem. Because you can go to any school and they will tell you something. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just doesn't mean that they're going to give you the whole fucking yard of what they need to tell you. Because when you walk out that dojo, you're a person of color like me, so you're not going to go home to a picket fence house. Now you might, because I don't know what your parents do for a living. But my mom was a career nurse and she had 7 kids to feed. So she didn't have lots of money, and we lived in the projects. And then when my dad, he lived in a whole different city. He was paying child support and all, but at the same time, he wasn't in the city that we live in. So we had to scrape and scrub. And then my sister, she started working at 14. I started working at 15. And so we eventually moved out of there. But the thing is, when I left my dojo, I had to walk back to a place where I'm subject to get my ass beat because I'm also mixed. And that's also a big fucking problem in the black community. Oh, you think you're better than me because you got like white or something else in you and your skin's light and shit like that. Where most people, they go to a dojo, and I'm not trying to offend anybody white or Asian, but most of them, they go home to a nice home. They don't have to go to a home where you got to walk to your neighborhood and you got to crunch down and make sure that big burly bullies aren't around the corner trying to attack you and shit. And a lot of people don't understand that shit. So basically, when they go to a dojo, it's exercise. Now, it's helpful exercise, but it goes that 70-30 again. And then, you know, those are the people who are very successful in tournaments and shit like that, where I could never compete in a tournament because to get in a tournament in Virginia at one time, you had to at least have a belt. And now, I kind of found out that all of that shit was bullshit. It was just a way to keep me from excelling at what I need to do. And I can't do forms to save my life. But a form is just exercising in a different manner, where it's the same thing as shadow boxing. For me, on the other hand, I'm like, look, I just don't want to get hit in the face. You hit me anywhere else, I don't give a shit about that, but I don't want to get hit in the face. And the thing with that is that people don't teach you, when you're in that dojo, you're going to get hit in the face. And if you can't recover, you're going to sleep. Or if you have a glass jaw, you're going to sleep. Where at least in MMA, they ground you in more than one shit. You know, where other shit, alright, we're going to do Taekwondo. So you're going to work on hits, kicks, and control. And your foot's going to be able to do the paintbrush thing. And you're going to go 1, 2, 3. And the younger you start in Taekwondo, the better your form is. But that shit's not going to be a hill of beans when you're outside. Because when you get that first kick, and then that second kick, if you miss that first or that second kick, and I can get under that foot, when your third foot is extended way up here, I'm taking your testicles right on out of your body. And I hate to say that way, but it's a street fight, and I'd rather get you down before you get me down. A lot of the fancy shit, it's only fancy because you've seen it on TV, and it works on TV because there's a fucking stunt team to make sure that nobody gets hurt so that everybody keeps working. But in real life,
that's true. In real life, that's how
no tornado
people fight in real life.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
But you know, you have to understand, man. If you're there in that motion of that kick, the second I could be better showing you than telling you. So if you set the Taekwondo kick up and you're just here, alright, so you're good with that. Stick with that. But when you get there, right in that aerial spot, boom, or you sidestep, boom, and you just throw me all around, it's a fucking done deal. Someone's going to hurt me if I'm in the air. Where if I stick with basics, if I stick with a front kick, or if I stick with a side kick, or a stepping side kick, or a front punch, or an elbow this way, or a knee, I'm gonna fucking survive this shit. And then, alright, targeting. A lot of fighting schools don't teach you where to hit a person. They teach you about the block and counter, or the block and counter, but they don't teach you where to hit. But if you take Kempo...
That's true, because it doesn't show and teach where to hit. That's true.
But see, Kempo teaches you where to hit, but a lot of people don't believe in pressure points. But you can combine Kempo with karate, you can combine Kempo with Kung Fu, and you can make your own shit that fucking works versus, alright, well, I did it this way, but it doesn't seem to be working. It's not working because you don't know where to hit a person. You can't always hit somebody in the face. Some people got jaws of granite, and the only thing you're going to do is piss them off. You can't always hit them in the temple because people are guarding. You know? So you have to learn what works against what guard. You can't always come straight through the middle. But if you can, this is a big target, this is a bigger target. He can't breathe, it's not much more he can do. Versus...
Oh, I know another target too, the eyes. If someone poking someone in the eyes, you can't, your eye goes blind.
Well, the thing is, you got to get there. And that's the problem.
True.
I'm 5'3".
That's
I don't
true.
have enough reach. No, you have to know your physical reaching limits. I'm not saying you have physical limits, but you have to understand that if you're 5'3" and you're going against somebody who's 6'2", they have way more arm distance, so you trying to poke them in the eye is probably not the best option. If you can get there, fuck yeah. But if you can't, you know, you got to do something else. So I always tell people the first place that I'm going to hit someone is in the sternum. Because that's going to take out the air. If I can take out the air, I can take out the rest of them. Now I got to get there to do it. So if they're throwing a front jab, and for Kung Fu, you get to the outside. So you're over here, you pull this way, you push here at the elbow, and you snap the elbow. And then from there, you hit them in the throat, or you hit them in the rib, or you hit them in the liver. And if you're on the left side, kidney, ribs, same thing. It's the same break. You have to do something to get to that sternum, where they don't teach you that shit. Where they teach you is block, counter, or block, until you can get a counter. No, fuck that shit. With martial arts in Kung Fu style, block and break. It's a block, break, strike. And a lot of skills are like, nah, we don't do it that way. And I've had a lot of problems with teachers and that. It's like, no, we don't do it that way. I say, yeah, but this way is a little bit more effective. Because I'm a small person. I can't be sitting around trying to overpower somebody who's 6'2". It's not going to fucking work. And then the last thing, so I can end the video and won't keep you up all night because I need to hit the shower.
Oh, before you end the video, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
My friend? Okay, this is a question, Moe, about fight. Who you think will win in real life? A monster movie? Godzilla or Kong?
I'm going to get you upset. I'm going with Godzilla. Only because of the fire breath. I mean, anybody who can blow somebody on fire in real life, if you can breathe fire, and they really haven't decided what Godzilla's depth of that actually is, especially if you go back to the old kaiju movies. But yeah, the targeting in any fight is the most important thing, and the adaptability, and people need to teach their students that before they ever even let them get out of the dojo. They need to teach them the right shit, and they need to teach them where to hit. And a lot of people, they just don't teach you where to hit. So I always tell people, whatever you study, take a Kempo lesson. Everybody's sleeping on Kempo. Taekwondo's making a resurgence, but take a Kempo lesson. And if at all possible, if you can find someone who teaches praying mantis, teach that. And take that, because those are like the two-finger jabs. There is a Wing Chun form that does do the two-finger things, but that's like a sword form. I suck at swords, so I can't give you any advice on that. But for the most part, praying mantis and Kempo, if you can combine them, and maybe eagle, maybe tiger, possibly dragon, if you can combine certain animal styles, you have a better shot at gripping people. And you want to be able to hit somebody where you can do damage, versus I'm just going to piss this person off. I'm sorry to whoever just popped in. I don't think I can get more than one person in here. Is that possible? I have no idea how to make that work. We're going to see if we can get a third person. I will say this. They're coming in late, and my phone battery might die. So, it's not working.
Oh, okay.
That's the only reason why I have to end it also besides the shower, is that my phone battery will die. I will be trying to make more of these videos.
It's okay. I'm happy to talk to you. It was nice to see you.
Well, there's the third person. We can try to go a little longer, but there's no guarantee that my phone's going to last that long. Hello there, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, he's my friend too. David.
Excellent. How's it
going?
Hey, hold up. I need to... Hold up. I'll be back, okay?
Roger that. But yeah, man, the whole thing is that if a person is going to teach someone, I'm not saying that they should have been in fights, but it would help if they had a little bit more fighting experience outside of tournaments, just in case. Because I've never been in a tournament. Ever. I've been to tournaments, I just haven't been able to compete in them because of like school rules and all this other shit. If you're not in the school, you can't.
I believe you. I believe you, my friend. I do believe.
But the thing with fighting in the street versus fighting in a tournament, you get more experience in the street. A lot of more shit happens to you in the street. People don't come to your dojo and try to rob you for your money. If they're gonna do that, they're gonna do that while you're in class. They're gonna be in the locker room. They're just gonna swipe your shit and they're gonna be gone. You're not even gonna be any wiser until you go to pay for something. You're like, damn, my shit's gone. Where in the streets, they want to hurt you. They really want to end you or hurt you. They want to do something to you on some level or another. This is why that 30% comes in. You are more dangerous to a person with this plastic Gatorade bottle than you are taught in that dojo. And the reason why, if it's full, you have weight. If it's not full, you can still do damage. You just have to know where to hit a person. And they don't teach you that shit.
That's right. That is right.
No, if they would teach people where to hit a person in school, there would be a thing. And all of this started from a damn TikTok that I watched a guy saying something about Shaolin Kung Fu and everything. And I was like, there is no superior martial art. There are superior martial artists in those martial arts, but there's no superior martial art because if there was, everyone would be taking it. There wouldn't be any my Kung Fu is better than your Kung Fu because everybody would be doing the same shit. And then they will all learn the truth. It's not the Kung Fu. It's the person using it. You're either really good or you're mediocre or you just suck. And you're going to be one of those three options. There's also lower level options than that. But you know, if you're in a martial art field, you can fight a little bit. Whether you want to believe it or not, you'll find out one way or the other, you know. And then, like I tell people all the time, I'm a tough little bastard. And for me, and only me, it's better to be tougher than stronger. But that's just my personal opinion. If you have natural strength, use your shit. Make people fight your fight. Don't try to fight their fight. Because if you try to fight their fight, you're bound to lose. Because that's their element, you know. But if you can sucker them into fighting your fight, you're bound to win, provided that you were trained properly.
Oh.
Well,
sorry, it's because I had to go.
I will let you go.
I'm sorry.
And y'all have a good one, man. And thank you guys for watching.
You too, man.
And your voice
Make
is
your dreams
going to
come
be on Kung
true.
Fu.
Never give up. And someday, you will. You'll be a star one day. You will.
I just want to be working.
In Hollywood one day.
I just want to be working. No need to be a star. I just want to be working.
Oh, okay.
Have a good one, man, and I thank you.
Make your dreams come true.
Oh, I'm working on it.
You're welcome.
Have a good one.
Yeah. God bless you, my friend.
Right back at you, and twice on Sunday.
Take care.
Roger that. Thank you for watching Kung Fu Epic number 2. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm probably going to be on Jay Diz's drinking plate tomorrow. Check me out.